Chapter 197 Snow Empress Spirit. Teacher. Who are you? Was surprised as he shouted. This aura was very familiar. It belonged to Elder Yi. The Eye of Destiny shot out a golden beam of light. Electrolux's dim golden figure appeared in front of Who are you? You should be fully awake when you see this. We were really lucky this time. I'm glad to tell you that we've succeeded. We have created a special energy body in your Eye of Destiny that has never before existed in your world. I believe you can sense its presence. Do you know when I decided to pass down all my research on necromancy to you? It was when your other teacher, the dragon Douluo Elder Yu, passed away. Your sorrow at that time touched me, and I truly saw you as my disciple. Right now, I have no choice but to leave you. Although I don't want to tell you the truth, there are some things that you have to bear. It was purely an accident that the snow pearl combusted. No one should bear responsibility for that incident. However, it has also led to this extreme fusion. This is probably fate, or a result of the end of those remnants of my divine sense. I burned my own divine sense and sealed you, the Snow Empress, and a shred of my divine sense into a single entity. I used the life power of the embryo and the snow pearl to create a special life form that won't disappear even though it doesn't have a true body. To a certain extent, it's a combination between the Snow Empress' spiritual sense and her strength, as well as your blood. This life form doesn't have a physical body, but it will have the same effect as your soul rings. It might even be stronger than your soul rings. Even I'm not sure how many of your soul rings it'll equal after it's completed. Since we created it together, let's give it a name. Let's call it Spirit. Even though I believe Spirit will appear again in this world in the future, the Snow Empress will still be of the highest level. It will be another ability that you can use apart from soul rings and soul bones. It can replace your soul rings, but it definitely won't be the same as a soul ring. I'm certain that at least half of the Snow Empress' spiritual sense dissipated during the fusion process. Furthermore, her body will likely be stuck at a very young age during the process of rebirth. She'll also be extremely submissive towards you. That's because I used a contract to shape her to be that way during the fusion process. She will listen to you. When Yuan left, he left a present for you. Consider this Snow Empress Spirit my gift to you. Don't be saddened from my departure. To me, this can be considered a form of release. When you reach my level one day, you'll discover that the meaning of life is beyond just death. I've seen too many deaths in my life. I've also resurrected others before. To me, this is just a transformation of my soul. Furthermore, I won't be leaving you entirely. When I fused with you, a part of my divine sense assimilated with you. Before I leave, I will remove the seal on the part of my divine sense that assimilated with you. It could be said that you now possess a third martial soul. Call this martial soul the divine law of necromancy. Take it as a remembrance of my existence. If you become a god one day, I believe that you can use it to find the rest of my divine sense in some other place. You can even resurrect my divine sense and create a new me. Don't be shocked by that. There's nothing impossible in this world. If you're capable enough, you'll be able to succeed. After a round of transformation, the Snow Empress Spirit will need to incubate. It might be a few days, but it could also be a few months. Your spiritual sea was critically damaged from her formation. You'll need a long time to recover, but don't be impatient. Your spiritual origin wasn't affected. When Skydream and the Ice Empress wake up, you'll succeed. Your soul power should be at rank 50 now. After this transformation, both the Ice Empress and Skydream will be asleep for quite some time. You'll need to rely on your own strength from now on. I believe that you'll be able to reach that level. I don't dare to call myself a god, but I hope that my disciple will be able to. You'll be my greatest pride if you manage to do so. Kid, the strong must be brave and tough, and they never cry. Crying is a sign of weakness. I hope that you can accept everything calmly. Finally, I used the last bit of strength from my divine sense to release my memories with all of you before I left. If there are still remnants of my divine sense in other places, they'll be informed. I'm waiting for you to find them. If you want to see me earlier, you must remember to work hard at your cultivation. Goodbye, Yuao. His voice ended here, and his golden figure also slowly faded away. His smiling face was the last thing to disappear. Teacher. Who are you? shouted. He started tearing up in his spiritual sea. How could he not have realized that Electrolux died to save all of them? At that point in time, Skydream, the Ice Empress, and the Snow Lady were all prepared to die. However, the only one to eventually sacrifice their life was Electrolux. Who are you? bawled sorrowfully, but he couldn't see Electrolux anymore. Only his memories continued to fuse with Who are you? Spiritual sea. They included the creation of the Snow Empress Spirit, and the incantations and experiences that he had comprehended in his lifetime. If it were possible, Who are you? Was willing to be the one who died instead. However, he was very clear that none would survive if he didn't, since he was their host. But how could he consider everything logically at this point? His heart was only filled with intense anguish. He cried until everything turned dark. He lost consciousness. Who are you? Dreamed the same dream as before. In this dream, the goddess of light brought him positivity again and comforted him. When Who are you? Woke from his dream, his spiritual sea had already been restored. Aside from the decrease in its size, everything had returned to normal. However, the four spiritual imprints that had once made his spiritual sea extremely lively were no longer there. His entire spiritual sea was quiet and desolate now. His soul power circulated normally again. Just like Electrolux had said, it was a success, and his soul power had finally reached the bottleneck at rank 50. He needed another soul ring to become a soul king. The Snow Empress Spirit embryo was only connected to the Ice Jade Empress Scorpion's martial soul, and didn't affect his spirit eyes. When he opened his eyes, the first thing Who are you saw was long, pinkish blue hair. His body jerked slightly, and he shouted Goddess of Light. Unwittingly. However, he soon realized that it wasn't her. That was because the familiar aura that he felt belonged to his good brother, Wang Dong. Who are Yuao's eyes were evidently not as bright as they had been when he first came to Clear Sky Castle. When he saw Wang Dong, he became less melancholic. This was the second time. Wang Dong had been by his bedside in recent times. Wang Dong must be very worried about his condition. As usual, Wang Dong, don't sleep here. Go to your room to sleep. Who are you? Shook Wang Dong's shoulder slightly and woke him up. Oh. Wang Dong groaned and lifted his head. He opened his blurry eyes. You're awake. You scared me. Wang Dong was jolted awake when he saw Who are you sitting up. He grabbed onto his hand and spoke agitatedly. Who are you? Forced to smile and said, I'm sorry, I've brought so much trouble to you and everyone else. Wang Dong shook his head and said, don't say that. I heard from eldest and second uncle. The changes in your body were caused by the frigid jade essence bed. It's my fault. If I didn't bring you here and you didn't stay in this room, none of that would have happened. Who are you? Said, no, how can I blame you? No one could have seen this coming. Go and rest. I need some quiet time. All right. Wang Dong looked at Who are you? He remained silent for a while before asking, Yuao, although I don't know what happened, I can sense that you've lost someone important. You were weeping and crying sorrowfully in your sleep. I wiped your tears several times. Can you tell me what happened? Who are you? Was in a momentary daze before he eventually shook his head. Wang Dong, it's better not to know some things. I'm sorry, I can't tell you. You're right though, I did lose someone important to me. He was an important elder. As he spoke, tears flowed down Who are Yu's cheeks. Wang Dong said hurriedly, all right, I won't probe anymore. Don't be sad. I'll leave now. However, you must promise me to get better. You can't live in sorrow anymore. You're a big man. How can you let yourself drown in your sorrows? Okay. Who are you? Nodded his head in agreement. However, how could he express the pain in his heart with mere words? How could the pain be dispelled with just a few sentences? Wang Dong moved forward to hug him before turning and leaving. Who are Yu's pain diminished a little as he felt Wang Dong's sympathy. He stood up and came to his bedside. He gazed at the sea of clouds that was drifting slowly by and clenched his fists tightly. Teacher, I'll get stronger and restore your divine sense too. I'll work hard. He clenched his lips tightly, and Electrolux's voice and smile surfaced in his mind. Slowly, Who are Yu's eyes turned greyish white. His demeanor also changed. As a dim light flashed, he exuded a special aura. It was cold and emotionless. A greyish soul ring slowly rose from his feet. Compared to an ordinary soul ring, this greyish soul ring was almost 50% larger. Behind him, a dim light projection also slowly surfaced. It had the appearance of Electrolux. Who are Yu's greyish white eyes slowly turned completely white. He looked terrifying. As he turned to face the blurry, illusory projection, his white eyes started to tear up. Teacher, I'll make you clearer and enable your necromancy to prosper in this world. I will use necromancy to resist evil and my strength to reduce the sorrow in this world. One day later, Who are Yu walked out of his room calmly. Wang Dong rushed over immediately as soon he received word. Yu, how are you? Wang Dong looked at his eyes and was stunned to see him smiling. However, the look in his eyes was completely different. It was much less brighter, and he seemed more mature. It felt as if he had grown older by 5 years. When Elder Mu passed away, Hua Yua had been on the verge of going crazy. He had buried himself in his cultivation as a way to cope with his grief. This time, he was much more mature. Wang Dong couldn't sense any sorrow from him. He was only very determined and unyielding. I'm fine. Hua Yua smiled. Can you find something for me to eat? It feels as if I haven't eaten since I came to your house. I'm starving. Wang Dong was relieved. He said encouragingly, Yuao, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Hua Yua shook his head and said, don't worry, I've thought it out. Sorrow is a show of weakness. I'll be more resolute in facing things that can't be reversed. One day, I will turn all the sorrow that I've once felt into joy. Wang Dong was surprised. Although I don't think this is appropriate, I have to say that you've grown up. Hua Yua laughed bitterly. I don't know if I've grown up, but I know I'm very hungry now. Wang Dong laughed. Let's go. I'll bring you to eat. The food in Clear Sky Castle was much simpler than Hua Yua had expected. There weren't any delicacies or particularly valuable food items. There was only an aromatic and tasty bowl of mushroom soup which left a deep impression in Hua Yua's mind. Wang Dong said that the mushrooms had been boiled in chicken soup, after which they were ground up and mixed with the soup. He also said that they drank this soup every day. Wang Dong didn't discover anything wrong with Hua Yua as they consumed their meal, and was finally completely relieved. Hua Yua rubbed his stomach satisfactorily and asked Wang Dong, have you obtained your soul ring? How long was I unconscious for? Of course not. I wasn't able to relax because of the state you were in. I'm relieved now that you're fine. You can't scare me like this anymore. Hua Yua looked at Wang Dong seriously and said, Wang Dong, I have a secret, but I'm not telling you. Will you be mad? Wang Dong laughed mysteriously and replied, I also have my own secret that I'm not telling you. Don't worry. Don't worry, we're still young. I believe that your secret won't remain a secret forever. Furthermore, I won't blame you even if it remains a secret forever. Hua Yua was also a little dizzy as he heard those words. Why do you sound like you're mouthing a tongue twister? Let's not force each other. I will tell you one day if I think that you should know about it. I promise you that you'll be the first to hear about it when I'm willing to tell someone. Wang Dong laughed. All right, we'll make that a promise. You have to stay in my house for a few more days. We'll go after I get my soul ring, okay? After this matter, my eldest and second uncles aren't interested in testing you anymore. Hua Yua nodded. Do you need me to follow you to obtain your soul ring? Wang Dong shook his head and said, it's fine. I can go alone. It'll take at least a day, and at most 3 days. It's very close to my house too. That place is a forbidden ground of the Clear Sky Sect. Otherwise, I'd let you go with me. Hua Yua said, no worries. I'll cultivate here while I wait for you. You must be aware of your own safety. Wang Dong nodded and said, don't worry. I'll be back very soon. Hua Yua asked, when are you setting off? Wang Dong replied, tomorrow morning. Hua Yua asked, what about our cultivation? While this matter has dealt me some harm, it has also increased my soul power. My cultivation has also reached a bottleneck. However, I'll only add a soul ring after we return to Shrek. What? Wang Dong was shocked. Hua Yua's soul power had been increasing very slowly over these few years, and the other 6 among Shrek's 7 monsters had widened the gap with him. Wang Dong was surprised to find out that Yua had reached rank 50. After all, Hua Yua's cultivation had been lagging behind all this time. Even though he had a rich array of fighting styles, he would be unable to catch his partners when they became 7-ringed soul sages. But if he was a soul king now, he was maintaining the gap he had with the rest of them. It increased that much. Hua Yua laughed bitterly. It's all thanks to the frigid jade essence bed. I'm really embarrassed to have destroyed such a treasure. However, you know how poor I am. Besides my body, I don't know how to compensate the sect for it. Wang Dong chuckled and said, then you can pay with your body. Hua Yua also laughed. He was in much better spirits now. All right. Then I shall sell my body to you. Just don't resell me. I couldn't bear to. Wang Dong replied almost instinctively. However, he blushed immediately after saying this and quickly changed the topic. Yuao, I won't be cultivating with you tonight. Oh. Why? Hua Yuao was a little stunned and said, if we cultivate for one night, you'll be able to reach your peak state. Won't it be more beneficial for you tomorrow? Wang Dong was a little coy and shook his head. No, I want to relax and have a good sleep tonight. I won't cultivate tonight. Hua Yuao didn't force him either and replied, all right. The two of them returned to their own rooms and didn't talk for the whole night. The next morning, Wang Dong left Clear Sky Castle after bidding goodbye to Hua Yuao. Hua Yuao sent him off along with the 2 sect masters. After Wang Dong disappeared, the sect master tapped Hua Yuao's shoulder and said, young man, let's talk. All right, Hua Yuao answered respectfully. The 2 sect masters brought Hua Yuao back to Clear Sky Castle and led him directly to the hall on the 3rd floor. Take a seat. The sect master pointed to a stone chair. Hua Yuao sat down cautiously and said, Sect master, second sect master, I'm really sorry. I brought so much trouble to the both of you. I'll think of a way to repay you for the frigid jade essence bed. I'm sorry. As he spoke, he stood up and bowed to the 2 sect masters. The 2 sect masters didn't stop him. After he sat down, the sect master smiled and said, although the frigid jade essence bed was very valuable, it wasn't very useful to our sect. You don't have to compensate us. We didn't call you here today to ask for your compensation, either. We're only conversing leisurely today. Tell us how you know Wang Dong and what he's normally like. We're very interested in knowing more. Hua Yuao was puzzled as he looked at the both of them. He asked, doesn't he relate his experiences in the academy to you? The sect master chortled and said, young people are naturally different from how we hope they are. He doesn't bother to talk to me much. He only comes back a few days a year. Moreover, I'm sure you'll have a different set of things to say from him. We're also interested in learning more about his life from your perspective. We are indeed quite lonely in this castle. Hua Yuao thought the 2 sect masters had called him over to talk about the incident that had happened the other day. He hadn't expected them to ask about Wang Dong instead. He nodded and said, I met Wang Dong in the academy. We entered the academy together. When we first met, there was a slight dispute. Come to think of it, it's really fate that we met. We were even put in the same dorm room. What? The 2 sect masters exclaimed in unison, giving Hua Yuao a shock. The second sect master asked in shock, the 2 of you live in the same dorm room. Aren't they supposed to be individual? Hua Yuao was confused as he replied, of course we stay in the same room. The 2 sect masters' expression changed. The second sect master asked anxiously, how many beds are there in the room? Hua Yuao even more confused as he answered, of course there are 2 beds. Although we're guys, we can't possibly sleep together. Oh. The 2 sect masters heaved a sigh of relief and looked at each other. They could each see the look of helpless mirth on the other's face. Hua Yuao didn't understand at all. Sect masters, what's wrong? The sect master forced a smile and replied, nothing. Wang Dong has been a clean freak since he was young. We had thought that he lived alone. We didn't expect that the 2 of you would be staying in the same room. He must have brought you a lot of trouble. Hua Yuao chortled and said, it's true that he's a clean freak. However, he's also very lazy. Aside from his own bed, he doesn't tidy up the room at all. I'm the one who tidies up the place every morning. He recounted how they met each other and became classmates, as well as how they were sent to compete together in the academy's tournament. He also related everything that had happened after that, and the close friendship that they shared. The 2 sect masters listened to him attentively. Apart from the initial interruption, they didn't disrupt him anymore, obviously very interested in what he had to say. Hua Yuao was also recalling everything that had happened as he recounted everything to them. He was also very excited, especially when he talked about their experience in the Elite Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament. He was very animated as he described everything, especially when he got to the 4 martial fusion soul skills that they shared. The 2 sect masters also relaxed the more they listened to him. They weren't just smiling or nodding their heads slightly as they listened to him now. Their gazes appeared much gentler, too. Hua Yuao didn't mention how he had saved Wang Dong, but the 2 sect masters could tell a lot of things from his expression, behavior, and tone. Time passed very quickly, and it was was soon noontime. The two sect masters dragged Huo Yuao out for lunch, after which he continued speaking for another 2 hours. He only stopped when they returned to the Sky Castle. In the meantime, Huo Yuao didn't talk about himself at all. He only recounted everything that had happened between him and Wang Dong. That is roughly what has happened. Huo Yuao spoke until his throat was dry. However, he could sense that the two elders' attitude towards him had changed after he told them everything. They appeared much closer to him, and this was proven clearly from the way they spoke to him. The sect master smiled as he said, Yuao, your experiences with Wang Dong are very enriching. No wonder the two of you have such a close relationship. Huo Yuao replied, it's my fortune to have Wang Dong as my good brother. The sect master gestured and said, you should stop calling us sect masters. My surname is Nui and my full name is Nui Tian. My second brother's surname is Tai and his full name is Tai Tan. You can call us uncles. Huo Yuao heaved a sigh of relief. If they were other people, he would have stormed off from the cautious and scornful way they treated him before. However, they were Wang Dong's elders. He had no choice but to tolerate them, but now it seemed that he had finally earned their recognition. Yes, Uncle Nui. Huo Yuao answered hurriedly. Nui Tian said in a deep voice, Yuao, both second brother and I saw what happened to you that day. There must be more than one immense force in your body. That teacher of yours. It's a pity. Huo Yuao's face turned slightly pale, and he revealed a deep sorrow in his eyes. He did it to save me. I'm sorry, uncles. I don't want to talk about it. Nui Tian nodded and said, everyone has their own secrets. We won't probe either. However, you were critically injured that day. I can feel that the pressure on you was very heavy. How are you now? Huo Yuao said. My body is already fine, but my spiritual sea was damaged, and has shrunk a little. I will try to restore it through cultivation. Nui Tian was shocked. Your spiritual sea was damaged? Titan was much more direct. Kid, don't tell lies in front of honest people. If your spiritual sea was damaged, how could you be sitting here? Huo Yuao was stunned, and replied, my spiritual sea was indeed damaged. However, my spiritual origin is fine, although my spiritual powers have dropped a little. Titan was doubtful. Your spiritual sea and spiritual origin belong together. Don't tell me you can separate them. Huo Yuao shook his head and said, I didn't. However, the damage to my spiritual sea didn't affect my spiritual origin. Nui Tian said, can I take a look at your spiritual sea? I have no other intention but to see whether I can heal it. All right. Thanks, Uncle Nui. Huo Yuao knew that they weren't completely confident in him. After all, even Wang Dong didn't know his secret. Nui Tian stood up and came before Huo Yuao. He pressed his right hand on his forehead. Huo Yuao didn't resist, and relaxed. With the abilities of these two sect masters, he couldn't resist if they wanted to harm him. Anyway, they were at Elder Sum's level, and the Clear Sky Sect was once the top soul master sect on the continent. Nui Tian's eyes slowly turned green. Huo Yuao only sensed a gentle aura surging into his mind. That gentle aura moved down his body. At the same time, a warm feeling circulated around his body. Huo Yuao felt very comfortable, and his passageways even started to heal at a faster rate. That gentle aura then ascended and slowly entered his spiritual sea. Huo Yuao shut his eyes. He could sense that the aura was being manifested as a wave of green gas. He couldn't tell whether it was spiritual or soul power. When that green gas entered his spiritual sea, it started to drift and move about inside. It didn't start any waves in his spiritual sea. Green light surged and started to spread in the spiritual sea. He only felt a refreshing chill coming from his forehead. His entire spiritual world seemed to have been cleansed. His damaged spiritual sea was slowly recovering under the effect of this magical force. His spiritual power was also increasing. This was an extremely magical and delightful feeling. It felt a little like when he saw the sea of clouds appearing above Clear Sky Peak. After some time, the refreshing chill faded away, and Huo Yuao was surprised to discover that the damage to his spiritual sea had been restored. Although it wasn't restored to the level of the boundless ocean, its capacity had returned to normal. This also meant that his spiritual power could return to its peak state through continuous deep meditation, which would only take a few months. From his initial estimates, he had thought that it would take more than 3 years to recover, given the level of damage to his spiritual sea. He opened his eyes and appeared much more vibrant than before. Nui Tian was still standing in front and smiling at him. Thanks, Uncle Nui. Huo Yuao stood up and bowed towards him respectfully. This time, he was completely won over. He didn't think anyone would have been able to heal the damage to his spiritual sea, with the possible exception of Elder Mu, if he was still alive. However, the Clear Sky Sect master was able to do so. In Huo Yuao's mind, he was on the same level as Dupussy. Nui Tian smiled and said, Yuao, your spiritual power is a lot stronger than I thought. Furthermore, I can also sense that your control over your spiritual power is very good. This is a good thing. No wonder Wang Dong said that you are talented. I could also sense the presence of a second mental sea in your spiritual sea. When your spiritual sea was damaged, your spiritual origin was automatically protected by your second mental sea. When everything ended, your spiritual origin returned to your spiritual sea. I'm afraid you didn't even realize this. Huo Yuao said respectfully, Uncle Nui, your spiritual power is indeed very strong. You can sense so much just by exploring a bit. I indeed didn't know what happens then. Nui Tian said, Yuao, I have a request. I hope that you can agree to it. Tell me. As long as I can do it, I will do it. Huo Yuao truly respected him. His control over his strength displayed his abilities as a truly powerful individual. Furthermore, Nui Tian was only making this request after treating him, and didn't use the treatment to exchange for his help. Huo Yuao respected him even more for that. Nui Tian said, I could sense that your teacher sealed the strength of a very powerful soul beast within you, and even helped it develop the form of an embryo. It is also an existence of pure strength. I want to know what exactly this embryo will become, as well as the changes it will experience in the future. I have a feeling that this is the first time something like this has appeared on the continent. That's why I hope you can tell me what you feel if the embryo in your second mental sea changes in any way. Of course, I can also help you if you get into any sort of trouble. At least, I won't let you be harmed. What do you think? Huo Yuao hesitated for a moment before saying, however, I'll be leaving here soon. After Wang Dong returns, we'll leave. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.